2015. Now, to tell us more about this, we're joined via Zoom by Zanele Mdodana, 2000 Momentum G Sports Awards Ambassador. So, thank you so much for joining us this morning. The Springbok Women's captain, Babalwa Latsha, tops the 2020 Momentum G Sports Awards. Tell us about her and what makes her the game changer.
I've got a very soft spot. Thank you so much for having me this morning. I've got a very soft spot for Babalwa. So dynamic, as a groundbreaker, is a woman leader. And we know that she's obviously one of the first, well, she's the first Springbok rugby player, woman player and captain to actually have an overseas contract, you know. So that just shows you the brilliance of Babalwa. Very smart as well academically. She's a lawyer, and I think she just leads by example and leads from the forefront. And I'm very proud and I'm happy that she's been recognized for all her hard work and her excellence.
This year, because of the pandemic, you're doing things differently. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, obviously we know that it's safety first. It's lives need to be protected, and a whole lot of things have changed. You know, things are not the way they used to be. With the G Sport Awards, we would normally, have a wonderful evening of glitz and glamour, dressing up, looking pretty as women in sport. But this time around, obviously, it's important that we understand that safety comes first. So it will definitely be a virtual awards, and the more information on that will definitely be let out to the public as to how the awards are going to run.
We know that the sports has been shielded from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Just tell us about some of the impacts.
Yeah, well, the impact, I'm a coach myself at the University of Stellenbosch, and it's been a sad reality that, we hadn't had any sport basically this year, no sporting competitions where, for example, netball is concerned. The university closed basically and sent the students home. Students had to study online and write exams online. It has been a massive challenge because some of those students are leaving the university. This is their last year, so they go out having had won their netball dresses and played and represented the university. Netball overseas is starting up again today. Gadla Pretorius, Phumzamaweni, and Ina Marie Fenter, who are South African players, started to play. They are in Australia. So things are different in Australia and New Zealand. We see that the rugby has already started. But here in South Africa, I think at a later stage, rugby is going to pick up. But we're not sure when netball will pick up from our side.
So this year, new categories such as the Global Women in Sports category have been included. Take us through all of these.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Just in terms of the new categories and how you are, invigorating the awards.
Yeah, well, I think the inclusion of these two categories in Global Women in Sport and African Women in Sport speaks to how G Sport has grown. And as awards being the biggest woman or the only woman sport awards in South Africa, and just the recognition of the work that has been done and the impact that women are having in Africa and globally. I mean, if you look at the names in the finalists of those categories, we've got Caroline Nyadiero, got Nondo Tuko Magabi, we've got Asha Kumagisha. I mean, these are people that I didn't even know about, and the way they are so excellent and flying the flag so high and just groundbreaking stuff that they're doing, in Africa is phenomenal. And for them to get that recognition, I think is very important. And the Global Women in Sport, it's great to have like Babalwa Latsha as a South African having that impact. Gadla Pretorius, who's a netball player, also being recognized as the best netball player in the world.
You yourself were part of a group of 39 black South African sportswomen to publicly support the Black Lives Matter movement. Tell us why it was important for you to add your voice.
Yeah, well, I'm a former player. I'm a former South African netball player and captain. And I, especially when Ungidi, came out to speak and say that he supports Black Lives Matter and the negative responses that he got from former cricketers in South Africa, as to say as if what he's saying and his story is not valid, that really touched a chord. And I know what I've been through when it comes to netball, being the biggest women's sport in the country, the injustices and the oppressions, and the list is endless, and there was no way I could keep quiet because I know exactly what he's going through because I've experienced it as well. And I think it took a while for women to have the courage and the confidence to speak up. And I was very impressed to see even not only the retired players are saying something, but the ones who are currently in the system and are active. Because at the end of the day, sport should be a haven. It should be a place of safety, a place of happiness. So when there's oppression and injustices taking place in that space, it's important that those things are called out. And hopefully this is not going to be a situation of we just speaking out and nothing happens and there's not going to be any change, that there will be a change and it doesn't perpetuate, because I'm a mother. I'm a mother to a 12-year-old, and I don't want my son, when he's old enough to represent a national team or a provincial team, to go and experience the things that I've experienced. So that's why I couldn't keep quiet, because I know that I might not reap the rewards of it, but my child that's coming behind me and the kids that are currently in the system as well need to be protected.
So back to the awards, just in terms of public participation, how can the public choose their favorites?
So now the voting is open to the public from today, the 1st to the 10th of August, and they can go onto the G Sport website on the voting hall, and that's where they can cast their vote for their favorite woman.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. And that conversation, of course, is part of the different conversations we will have during this month as we mark National Women's Month. And the question we're asking you today is, have South African women raised their voices sufficiently in the fight against COVID-19? Hashtag National Women's Month 2020. Let us know at the agenda_SABC. We'll be taking a look at some of your submissions in a bit. Let's take a break for now.